Stop broad. We are on the air. Welcome to Comic Books on TV, week 11. Is that what we're on now?
Fuck that. It's Star Wars week.
It is Star Wars week. It's fun. We just finished up finale. We just finished up a TV show finale week. This is week of December 7th through 12th, I guess, or 11th. This is Hunter, my brother Ford here to walk you through this week's comic book TV shows and the season finales, and probably diverge into some Star Wars rambling at some point.
Yes. While we're talking about that, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was great this week, but like they're owned by this Marvel and Disney, or Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney, ABC. They're all the same company. Like they could have had. I feel like there should have been some reference to. I mean, I know that I've been wanting to call Coulson Skywalker all year, so.
I lost your feed there, so I lost anything you just said.
Why hasn't Disney called Coulson Skywalker? Because he's missing a hand and they're owned by the same company.
That's true. And they made a Tatooine joke. They obviously...
that's what I'm saying.
He's obviously seen Star Wars, so... Okay,
like,
so
if
Cisco?
If Cisco was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he would be calling Coulson Agent Skywalker.
That is a fact. You go into this real fast as an intro to, I guess, Supergirl. I have got to go blow my nose.
Okay, so Supergirl, I hadn't even watched anything. I had not even seen the episode yet, and they already won the week. It was during the Redskins collapse on Monday Night Football, where it was revealed to me that Supergirl was now not just a show about Supergirl, but now is a show starring my second favorite DC character, the Martian Manhunter. No, I didn't see this coming. We may have joked about it, how that guy looked like John Jones, but certainly we did not expect them to. I mean, they have Martian Manhunter on the show now. I'm like, what?
I didn't see that coming. I thought that he was going to end up being more of the straight-up Harrison Wells type. It would end up being Hank Henshaw. But that was underselling this show, because it would have been doing a disservice to just played the Harrison Wells card again and had him slowly be revealed to be evil over the course of a season. This is a much better way to take it. It's more original. And Martian Manhunter, a 7-foot green, awesome alien superhero, incredibly powerful dude, is going to be on our TVs now on a weekly basis, which that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm so desperate for these shows to play with the Arrow and Flash universes, because if we could get Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, Black Canary, Green Arrow, the Flash, and the Atom on fucking Hawkman on screen, and Hawkgirl, it's like they not only have enough members to cast the Justice League, like they can they don't even all have to be used at once. There's so many people in this universe.
They have so many heroes going on. They could beat up the Justice League, because the Justice League would just be Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Aquaman. And now that you have Martian Manhunter, you got a chance against everybody else. You got Supergirl, too, to fight Wonder Woman. This Justice League is like, they are elite. They're awesome. It's the 80s and early 90s Justice League brought to life when they gave it a shot without the original big names. And it's awesome, man. What was that?
And it's working. This was a what I was saying. While you're blowing your nose was Supergirl won the week before I even saw a single frame of their episode. Before it even really aired on the West Coast, they had already won the week. I mean, just the fact of bringing in Martian Manhunter. I mean, honestly, I don't even remember what the hell else happened on that episode. Like, Kara did something, Kat did something. Holy shit, there was Martian Manhunter. That's like my summary of the. I mean, I honestly, I'm not even sure what happened other than Martian Manhunter, because it was right after the aforementioned Redskins collapse on Monday Night Football, and I was angry, and this was like the thing I remember. So
this Supergirl was the obligatory Day Without Powers episode,
right? Yes. Which
every superhero, it seems, movie, definitely show, definitely comic book, has to have. And on the one hand, it's kind of a trope and almost a little bit cheesy. But on the other hand, this episode was done real well, and it has potential to talk about messages about, what being a hero is and the good morals that make comic book heroes important to our culture, important to kids, and so inspiring. And I think they may have been a little heavy-handed at times, and a little bit much of it was tied to Supergirl when she's been around for all of a month and a half. A little too much was, without Supergirl, what do we do? And, we've got to stand up and be inspired by Supergirl, and Supergirl this, Supergirl that. And she's awesome. I get the city pride of we have our own hero too now, but it seems to treat her as a little bit more of a hero than she is at this point. She's done some cool stuff, but she's done like 6 things. She needs. I feel like they tried a bit hard a few weeks ago to move to she's already proven herself and she's already a legitimate hero in her own right, and they're skipping what should be and what could be interesting, growth stories and learning, and they're still learning, but I don't know, it just seemed kind of heavy-handed how fast they dealt with that. That being said, that's a long string of things. I liked this episode a lot, and I loved Cat Grant's speech. Sorry.
It was what you're saying with the her without her powers thing. You're right. That is a trope that's been used in literally every single thing ever. But I guess this was the way that she lost her powers was a fairly new. When they redid Superman for New 52, apparently they gave him, they toned down a lot of his powers and they gave him a new one. One of the new ones was that he kind of like a battery. And so if he or energy, then he has to recharge for a day, or anything in the comics it's 48. It's in 24 hours. It was 48. But
the solar flare.
Yes, it's a very solar flare power. It's a very recent thing, but it also it makes such perfect sense that I've kind of always thought of Superman as a solar, because that's why he's always flying into the sun and shit.
Yeah, no, he's always been described as a solar battery to an extent, but then they have inconsistent ways of how fast he uses his power, or does he ever run out, and how does it work? Right. I mean, I like this interpretation, because that's how I would do it. I would have it so that the longer there'd be almost no limit to his power when he's just absorbing energy. But I like the idea that he can just release all of it. That's crazy. That's like a Human Torch will go in supernova thing they did in the 90s a lot.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was trying to think of who wrote that FF run. FF run, I think it was.
It was FF.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
No, I'm trying to think of the author on that. I think it was Busiak. That was like pre-Avengers Busiak. And our mother loved those comics.
Me too. That was the last time that I remember FF being good. And people thought it was getting boring then. That's right before the whole Heroes Reborn crap when they gave FF to Jim Lee.
See, the last time, if we're divulging into that, Ultimates FF was awesome because Reed Richards became the greatest villain. Fuck everyone else. I'm too smart for you. So. So anyway, Supergirl, Martian Manhunter. It looked like they didn't give him a cape because maybe that's a bit too much. Well, but he looked like Martian Manhunter.
He looked close enough. He looked close enough. Basically the head was incredible. The costume was fairly close to perfect, because him going with the old red booty shorts, red boots, and red suspenders, you knew was not happening. Thank goodness. So kind of having this newer take on the costume that they've been moving with over a lot of the last 5 to 10 years. I thought it was great. The costume looks awesome. I heard they're going to do a real costume though. That was obviously CGI. But I was reading an interview and they're saying they have a real full costume for him, and he spends 2 hours in makeup to get his head the perfect kind of crazy shape and green. I think it looked great.
So actually doing that with like a guy.
Yeah, I thought it would be CGI the whole time. And to be honest, the CGI looked good, but not good enough. I thought it should be on screen, lots of episodes for multiple minutes.
Pretty much the only interpretation of Martian Manhunter I've ever really seen. I mean, he was a cast member of the JLA, of the Genie-verse JLA, right? Was he part of that team?
Yeah, he was on the. Well, he was definitely on Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, he was. I think he was on Justice League also because that was after the '90s version when Grant Morrison rebooted the JLA. He basically said it was the core members who end up being all the long time and the super famous members plus Martian Manhunter. And it was basically accepted that he's become now in most things an original Justice League member who is just not as famous.
Yeah, he never really had his own book except for a few, limited runs here and there. But what I mean, other than that, the JLA comic, the best interpretation of Martian Manhunter, which I've always thought would make just an awesome TV show if somebody wanted that brief his storyline in New Frontier, where he adopts the visage of a TC's like Dragnet. And the way he like dialogue is it's lifted from television, so he's keeps speaking in cliches and in pure Americana, like Rockefeller 50s style dialogue, and it's just it's great. That's and then Batman has that great line where he's like, I have a $50,000 shriver of fucking radioactive meteor for the one in Metropolis. For you, all I need is a book of matches.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I love the nail, but no, that's the classic Martian Manhunter character. I mean, I don't know if it's classic to everyone, to me. And so I think probably from the late Silver Age, up to the 80s, maybe that kind of era, he was a detective in his off time. He was John Jones, a detective.
Yeah,
and and that's really gone away. And maybe that's from the Grant Morrison run. He hasn't really done that much since. I can't think of the last time, including that run, that I've seen the detective John Jones. But that's who he was. You're right. That's besides New Frontier, obviously. But that version of him, especially the kind of the 50s gumshoe play on it, was great. It had to find noirish feel to it, and it fits perfectly. And then I don't know, it's kind of like how Dark Knight and Batman things work so well because you can just make it a pulp detective book or a cop movie or Die Hard, and then throw the guy in a Batman costume. It fits all of them. Yeah, have the idea that you can. I don't know how you do it, but it could be horror, it could be sci-fi, it could be anything. You just have a detective, a gumshoe in the 50s, film noir, and then the Martian Manhunter comes out. That makes for some awesome stories.
I mean, I've always just that one little. I mean, really, because that's all we've seen was a couple cartoons. Up until Monday night. That's the Black Canary was in Smallville. Did they ever do Martian Manhunter on Smallville?
Yeah, they had John Jones, but I don't think he ever turned into the Martian Manhunter full on effects.
I remember that he was the Doomsday season, right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't.
Okay.
I the Doomsday season was maybe my last season watching.
Me too, because it was fucking garbage.
I've seen that actor do a few things since then. Until going back to the final season, obviously. But yeah, he was in that briefly. All I ever saw him as was basically dressed like John Jones, dressed like just a black guy in an overcoat, but acting like Martian Manhunter, not being a detective or anything like that.
Yeah, well, so I was gonna say this is at least a couple. I mean, that's and that's the thing, without those couple, without the cartoons and without Smallville, we wouldn't got to where we are today. So, I mean, you can't, the influence of, I was going to say this is the first one, but I mean, I just disproved my point while you're talking. So, you not the first, and you got to give credits to Smallville versus cartoon.
Yeah, you do. Especially Smallville. We all hate on because we all tend to hate on Smallville a little bit because it was so frustrating. Always waiting for the comic books to come out and then just being given a little bit of fan service here and there, talking about, the barn is my fortress of solitude. And you're like, yeah, we get it. That was fun. Thank you. We appreciate that. Maybe you could do some more now, please, sir. And it always held it away. It's because they made that rule at the beginning, the no flying, no capes rule, they called it. And they ended up doing everything but in that last season or two. But it took them 8 years to get to that.
Well, I remember we had that, when Justin Hartley was playing Oliver Queen, like they had that. I mean, the groundwork was literally laid with that version of the Justice League they had on that show with Justin Hartley as Oliver Queen, other like guy who looks like Chris Hemsworth as Aquaman, and the late sadly the late, oh God, what was that guy's name? I want to say Jet Jackson, but that was
Jet Jackson's Cyborg.
I mean, this is shitty because that guy committed suicide, and we should know his name.
I don't know his name either.
I always liked him too because I grew up with Jet Jackson. Fuck.
Jet Jackson was a little bit after my time, but I mean, I was aware of it because that was a cool show. And then he was on that. He was in Scrubs that one last season, I believe.
That's right.
He's been involved in some things I definitely enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Supergirl, they right? I mean, that's if
it was the Supergirl average, which is a long double off the wall, and then they threw in a surprise home run there at the end. But they had themselves a nice game, a single and a double, threw in a home run there just with no warning. Because Max Lord is cool. I liked in the episode. I like Cat Grant's speech, and I thought it was a fairly well done Day with No Powers episode. And then you top it off with the fucking Martian Manhunter, and you show him there in all his giant green glory.
But also, I mean, we'll move on to Supergirl right now. I mean, I promise, guys, but it makes me look for, like, I give it it was an A on itself, but it makes me look forward to the rest of Supergirl, like this season, next, like, now the show has a show about Supergirl. It's not like he's gonna go anywhere.
And that's the thing, is that as long as they do a good job,
he's not a villain. He's like part of her life.
Even if he did go somewhere, they obviously know it works, and they could bring in someone even newer, someone else we don't expect to see. Although I love Martian Manhunter, I hope this lasts at least this season. Hell, in the next season, this is great. It's not just Supergirl anymore. It's Supergirl and the Martian Manhunter. It's Supergirl's show, but the chance to get to see Martian Manhunter be her sidekick every now and then, that'll be awesome.
I mean, absolutely. So anyway, bordering on A+, but I'm gonna hold that back because at some point they'll get an episode where they're both fighting and he's like talking to her in her mind. Like they're gonna do some stuff like, now when she's fighting, like he can be in her head, like communicate. Like Kara. I mean, the voice I wanted, he definitely was on the Diniverse cartoon because the voice that I'm mimicking is the one that he did on the cartoon. And, they did an awesome episode of that where he was on, maybe the Scarecrow was involved, so like he had to relive the moments on Mars, and he was like shifting his
family
shape.
Dies in the fire. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, the only complaint now I think back, who the fuck is this Jim dude?
I told you that guy's name was Jim.
Who is Jim? Where is he? I've read a lot of comic books, and I do not recall this dude. And what kind of name is that? He must be an old character. I don't know. That was a strange choice. I get it to bring out Martian Manhunter, so I'm not saying it was a bad choice, but what a physically unappealing villain to use for that week.
Yeah, you're right. And the only reason I knew the name is because Kevin Smith was talking about they're using Gem, and I was like, oh, that's a weird. That was my only reference point to that. So,
maybe there's one big I don't know about. I feel like if I had one complaint right now about Supergirl, it would be that Jim and Reactron and maybe one other villain just look like people with stupid suits, Like, I know villains are tough to come by and tough to do the job with. And hopefully Supergirl, maybe it's Max Lord, hopefully Supergirl has a nice long-term villain in mind that they can kind of give the gravity to that we've seen with Zoom and Ra's al Ghul and now Damien Dark and obviously, your boy, the Purple Man, and Kilgrave. I feel like so far we had the villain of the week thing, and it's cool. But if you're gonna do the villain of the week, Jim, I don't know, it can't just be a weird looking guy in an overcoat. And Reactron just looks like a guy with some metal football pads on. I'd like to get a little better than that.
I I agree, and I think, unfortunately, whereas those other shows are on CW and they have their audience and they need, their audience isn't going to go anywhere. They can do serialized plot lines throughout the whole 22 episode seasons. Supergirl is on CBS, which I don't watch any. I don't watch the garbage on CBS because it's the same episode of all of their shows. Like all CBS shows repeat themselves every single week. Whether it's Big Bang Theory, whether it's CSI, whether it's Criminal Minds, it's always the same exact show every single week. And I don't expect Supergirl to ever really deviate from that. Not from a comic book formula, but just from a that's what CBS does.
Yeah, CBS is kind of weak. But also, I mean, the fact that you can't watch Supergirl on Hulu, and you can't watch Stephen Colbert on Hulu, and you can't. The fact that they don't make themselves accessible to new media, the fact that their shows are all mostly retreads and terrible sitcoms. Moms is maybe the worst show I've ever seen, and it's on its second or third. It's all very depressing with CF. But that being said, Supergirl seems cool.
Mom is so bad, but I love Anna Faris. I want to watch that show, but Mom is so bad.
I watched it the first season, the first at least half until the fall break, the first season, and I wanted to shoot myself.
I mean,
not even just while it was on, but after it was done, for wasting that much time of my life doing that.
Two Broke Girls is on its 7th season.
How's that possible? And they had 2.5 Men on there for 14 years or some shit. Yeah, that kid's 30 now, and some kind of Christian activist.
Yeah, so Melissa Benoist is going to be playing Supergirl for a long fucking time.
Well, you know what? I like Melissa Benoist. I loved her scene when she had the solar flare. I didn't feel like they gave us a clue as anything more than Elite Vision, because at least my impression I got in the comics was the solar flare went crazy. It was more like the supernova thing with Johnny Storm that we were talking about, where it emanates energy more than just two awesome crazy super laser beams, which was cool. But I feel like they kind of, I don't know, I thought they could have made it more clear that that's what those were.
Totally agreed. But anyway, so Supergirl, this is the most we've ever talked about Supergirl, partly because Gotham was off this week, so Monday was free, partly because they had more. Right, and then partly because we are both Redskins fans, and it was a night, having that happen after the Cowboys game was very nice to have.
It was.
But okay, so moving to Tuesday night, I have no notes for this week because I was moving into a new apartment, and couldn't locate pen and paper when I was watching things. But anyway, so
Shield.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3, episode 13 or 12 or some shit. 12.
No, it's I think it's 11. It's
11?
10 or 11.
Okay, yeah. Maybe 11, half 22.
So that'll be okay. So start right off the bat. Hydra in space.
Hydra in space.
On that planet.
Hold on, keep talking because I'm.
Okay. So
have I watched Shield?
It opens up to that weird planet to the whatever the planet is where Will and Simmons are trapped, and it shows everybody who landed, and they walk up and they see this giant stone carving of the Hydra symbol. That's I
haven't watched Shield.
Oh, well,
it's because I didn't have my DVR, and that's right, because I was moving on. I'm sorry, I was moving on Tuesday, and I moved my DVR.
Well, to give us something to do a short little midweek podcast about later on, since there's no more comic shows for this year.
Yeah, I totally apologize, but I watched. I made sure I watched Flash and Arrow, and I gapped on Shield. Shit.
No, it's all good. Supergirl's new tomorrow, so we'll do a quick half-hour joint on Wednesday or some shit, and we'll do last week's Shield, and we'll do Supergirl from this week.
Okay, cool. That's fine. So anyway, Flash, their mid-season finale, and was this the first one? Zoom is now I think a cast member, and he's going to be appearing in every episode. Is kind of the way I'm feeling it.
It seems so. I mean, at least they might have a few one-off episodes where he happens to not be in, but it seems like, but if they do that, it'll be on purpose just for a break. Because yeah, he's everywhere now, and Wells again going to be opposing Barry. You think Wells should just say to Barry, "Hey, I'm going to get you as fast as we can, because either you win and defeat him, and you have to be fast enough anyway, or you lose, and my daughter hopefully lives." Probably not, but maybe.
That it has to be that way. Because they can't just have Tom Cavanaugh playing like, oh no, you're going to play the exact same character as you played all of last. Like, right. He has to go to Barry and be like, okay, so he has my daughter, but there's nothing else I can like. As long as he's open about it. If
it was Arrow, he would keep the secret on Arrow. On Arrow would be written to keep that secret, and it would lead to a bunch of contrived, cool scenes and some good moments, but for a contrived, silly reason that would feel a little bit unreal and unfair. Flash doesn't usually do that. Sorry,
we can get to. I actually forgot the way that the episode opened was with Captain Cold berating Barry about not having marshmallows for his hot chocolate.
Dude, Captain Cold, that's not how it opened, but that was.
Isn't that how it opened?
No, because he was in jail, and the opening scene was him breaking him out.
Right. Okay, yeah. So this episode we have the Trickster, Weather Wizard, and Captain Cold. Ubiquitous Flash, Rogues team up, Rogues Gallery. They're going to do this once or twice a year, and I love it.
Me too.
And Wentworth Miller, just more of that guy and less of everything else.
Yes, more
like just in everything.
I'll tell you what, I started this episode saying, Mark Hamill, God, I feel mean saying this, physically or visually not the most appealing villain. He's not aged wonderfully. And then he's just playing the Trickster so crazy and over the top like it's the Joker. But to be fair, by the end of the episode, I was saying he's just playing the Joker. And
he is playing the Joker. They put him in a purple suit.
Yeah. By the end, I was loving it. At the beginning and even the one last year, I was a little bit like, this isn't really the Trickster, is it? This Trickster's not just the Joker. I mean, what are we? But you know what? Screw it. We don't have the Joker on TV. We're not gonna have the Joker in Gotham anytime soon. And if we do, it probably won't be Mark Hamill playing him. So if Mark Hamill wants to play the Joker on The Flash, I'm totally fine with that. Mark Hamill, you know what? He can play Joker anywhere he wants. It isn't Star Wars. And if he really wants to, I guess he can do it in Star Wars.
I have a feeling we can. Yes, it's pretty much he's going to be a villain, right? That's the way it's looking. I mean, while we're on this subject, I have tried to not watch it, like other than the trailer that made me cry, and then the other trailer on Monday Night Football. I want to know as little about this whole Star Wars as possible. I mean, like, I have
no idea.
I was talking with our mother about this, about which she was more excited for, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. For me, it's not even a question. It's Star Wars. One I've been watching since I was 3, once a year, at least every year for 25 years almost. Then the other, was a thing that was introduced to me when I was like 14.
Yeah. No, I was, this particular time, I am more excited than I was for The Hobbit, the first Hobbit, when I had Lord of the Rings in my mind. I'm more excited than I was. I don't know. See, for me, I was the way that you're talking. I was that way for Phantom Menace. I was 18 years old. I loved Star Wars for the last 15, 16 years. We had just gone and seen the original 3 re-released in theaters over the previous 2 years. Like, they had primed us. My friend in high school, his cousin sat outside and got tickets, and someone bailed, and no one else was allowed to do things at midnight. And so I was able to go and didn't have to sit in line or anything. And I was that excited for that for Phantom Menace, and I was so destroyed. And I'm still super pumped for this week. I went out and I bought the 3-disc set Blu-ray of the original trilogy. I've already been watching them on a weekly basis. I've even watched the first 3 over the past month. I can't wait, but they're not going to get me like they did that last time. I was so excited for that movie. But I remember you were 10 at the time, right? So you were young enough that it's like the Ewoks thing. For the Ewoks are a much, much better version. But a lot of old people felt the Ewoks kind of dumb. But if you were a kid, the Ewoks were great. They made a family movie, and the Ewoks were done really well. So even as an adult, I never really minded them. Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and there's the Ewoks at least was an intelligent a metaphor for like the underlooked, that was what brought the Empire down. They didn't account for these native, you know what I mean? Like, whereas the undertones of Phantom Menace were, oh wow, they have Jar Jar Binks is playing a 1920s black caricature. He's with giant lips and huge feet. When you think about that movie that way, it's exactly.
It was and stupid wins the day. Not an overlooked people fighting for their homes, but stupid luck from this kid who goes, oh, what's this do? Oh, and he flies out. Oh, no, what's this do? He blows up a bunch of important stuff. Oh, how did I do that? That was cool. And then Jar Jar falling over crap and tripping, unleashing the bombs that kill half of the droids over on this side of the army. It's all stupid. Anyway, look, I'm not here to bitch about Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Phantom Menace is a jerk, but I'm super excited for Thursday, and I have no doubt that I'll leave much happier than last time.
You know what's underrated about Phantom Menace is, pretty much everything in that movie is nonsensical. Padme is a pedophile. Like all of the decisions in that movie are silly. Pod racing still holds up. Pod racing is still dope. Like that was I remember still being in awe of that the first time I saw that. But I was 10 and it still holds up to me. That's
good. And that's what I'm saying. So at your age, although now I'm sure as you've grown, so has your hatred. But when you were 10 years old, you were not quite as angry about Jar Jar and the Gungans as a whole as I was, and as all of the Anakin stuff, it wasn't quite as offensive to you because it was written for a child. Now, unlike the Ewoks, it wasn't written intelligently and in a way that could grow with you as you age, and you can see other things in it. But, stupid bastards. But anyway, Padme was kind of pedophile for sure, and this movie's gonna rock, and I'm so excited. And 7:45, dude, 4 days. Well, now we'll be walking out of that theater beaming.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to tell Mom was like, so okay, I understand. You were excited for Lord of the Rings, but you still knew the story, right? Like you still when you saw Two Towers, when you saw Fellowship of the Ring, you're like, okay, I know the story. They're either going to do it well or they're not. Like it would almost be like they're making a sequel to Lord of the Rings 30 years later with Aragorn, Legolas, and Frodo, but like you didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. No, it's
anyway.
They hold all of our hearts in their hands because this has the potential to be the most satisfying and fun and nostalgic, joy-filled ride that millions and millions and millions of people are all going to enjoy together. Or it could, if it's not good, it'll be tragedy. But
it's not just for geeks. It better be good because it's going to destroy the American economy if it's not. There's so much Star Wars shit that like companies have produced in merchandise, and tie-ins. That's just all it better sell for the American economy's sake.
It's the first thing I've ever seen where the expectations are so high and so good that it doesn't even seem to have any pressure on it. Like for Batman versus Superman, everything looks good. Expectations are high. And there's all the pressure in the world. For Captain America Civil War, I think there's probably a lot of pressure because one, you've just come off of your weaker outing with it, not to all people, but to many people, with Avengers 2. And you had success with Ant-Man, but it wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy. And you need to kind of bounce back, especially because Fox and DC are bringing it to you next year and bringing it hard. So I'm I think there's pressure on those two movies. But Star Wars, I haven't even heard anyone float the idea that it's not going to be good. I haven't heard anyone float the idea that people might not leave happy and it's not going to kick ass.
Well, yeah, because I've heard the one review I've heard was like from a sports guy who was like, yeah, I saw the cut, but I didn't like it. But I didn't like Star Wars as a kid. And anybody who starts their review that way just gets ignored. Like, okay, go away.
Yeah, what are you talking about then?
Like, go away. We don't need to hear you. So, but anyway, speaking of things that made me cry, the end of let's get back to the Flash. The end of the Flash, I was fucking.
Wait, what? The Flash?
Which
Star Wars movie is the Flash in?
No, I said speaking of things that make me cry.
I know. I was pretending that we were still on Star Wars.
Yeah. I was bawling by the end of the Flash episode.
Dude, Flash was insane. Not like an insane, awesome episode. It was good in lots of ways. But all the stuff with Barry, the scene with Barry and Joe, like, I can't remember exactly where they were. They're in front of the window, and Joe's just pouring his heart out about the sun feelings, about this and that. He is such a good actor, and he brings so much. He and Tom Cavanaugh bring so much to this show. And to be honest, Tom Cavanaugh, I didn't think was quite as good when he was doing the Zoom stuff with his daughter. I didn't think he had quite the presence that Joe does and that he usually has for his scenes. I don't know. He didn't blow me away quite the same, although it was still good. And the way it was written and portrayed was great. But just Joe had just hit so many perfect notes that I wasn't quite as blown away by Wells.
Well, just the way they built the emotional arc of like Joe not telling Iris about the mom, and then Iris made like one of the most adult reactions in any show I've ever seen. Her being like, "Okay, no, my life is fine. I don't need you in my life." And I'm not upset that Dad didn't tell me. I understand its reasons, and I'm cool with them. And then when she keeps the secret from her dad, because it's honestly what Joe said. He's like, oh man, when Joe's speech about like who taught him how to be a man, and then when Wally shows up at the end, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry talking about it.
Yeah, no, it was heartfelt, and it was
earned.
See it coming a mile away. And they've been building to it, and they've been having extra scenes where Joe's regretting not having a son, like vocally over and over again. And I've even noticed and thought it was kind of strange how not strange, and I didn't know why, but just a little bit heavy-handed. But they played it perfectly. And this episode, it brought so much emotion and so much real like love and family shit. And then when Wally shows up, man, I cannot wait to see that kid run.
I mean, just the way they cast him young enough that, like, he's got these big eyes, and he's just looking up at Joe like, because I guess his mom just died or is like in the process of dying. So
I think in the process, I'm not sure.
So like he's showing up on Christmas, and that like he doesn't have any. Oh my God, that
it means he's probably dead if he's there on Christmas.
That tore me up. Was just like, but they had built toward it. I mean, when Joe gives Barry, and they had Joe like have kind of closure with Barry, like, you're my son, I'm giving you this, even if I do meet this new one, you're still my son.
Yeah, getting to watch was a big moment, and that was very cool. Why is Ryan Reynolds on my television right now? And why is Ryan Reynolds on my TV right now in a Deadpool costume?
There's a new Deadpool trailer dropping tonight after football.
Well, he is just a commercial of him sitting on the couch talking to the guy from Silicon Valley, wearing a Santa hat.
Yep,
would it be legal for me to turn this towards the TV and us all watch this commercial together?
Yeah. We don't have any. We're not charging for this.
That's true. Okay, let's do that because
we're not charging. Yeah, we're not charging for this. Did you happen to listen to Fat Man on Batman, not this past week, but last week?
I have not listened to it yet. No, I'm behind by a week or two.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago they have a thorough discussion of the Batman Superman trailer.
Yeah.
And they break down everything. And Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin have decided that the little winged things in the background.
Little what things?
There's like little bats in the background of one of the scenes when Superman takes the mask off Batman.
Yeah.
Like there's and they were like when Kevin Smith first watched it, he was like, "Oh, I just thought those were Bat Guardians," and then, but then Mark Bernardin was like, "No, dude, those are parademons." And then look in the background. There's a giant hole opening in the sky. There's a giant hole opening in the sky. So
I saw that too. I saw some.
Is there a fucking boom tube?
It looks like it. Here, do you see this? Can you?
Yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Anyway, yeah.
Let's do this, and then we'll talk about that. I just want to get back to my seat.
Yeah.
All right, Deadpool.
B-ball fans were dying to watch LeBron, Steph, and Russell swim down.
Should bring back the short shorts. Who wears short shorts? I do. I wear short shorts.
A basketball miracle, right here on Christmas Day. Stuffed into our stockings by the Jolly NBA. Join us for games. Ooh, and something else cool. In between all the dunks, a sneak peek of Deadpool.
Hope you've been nice.
See you at Christmas, boys and girls.
What are you talking to? And welcome.
All right, that's all.
So it's him teasing trailer.
Yeah, I love this world that we live in right now.
Ryan Reynolds he's like playing this character like at his house. Like if you follow him on Twitter, he's like I feel like he hasn't taken off the Deadpool costume in 6 months. Like he is Deadpool.
That's gross.
Yeah, he thinks he's Deadpool. And the trailer for the first trailer, like they did one of those teasers for a trailer the first time they did, and the trailer was from the people who inexplicably sewed his mouth shut the first fucking 10 minutes or after 10 minutes of the first movie comes Deadpool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Okay, what were you saying about Kevin Bernardin or Batman vs Superman? Parademons.
Yeah, are those things parademons? And then if they are, that thing in the background, is there a goddamn boom tube opening up in Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, they look like parademons to me. I didn't notice it live, but I saw some online bringing it up also, and they had a freeze frame of them, and they look like parademons. And
so
is Justice League the next? No, what's the next movie? Is it
Wonder Woman?
DC? It's Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be a period piece, right?
Yep, Captain America style.
So what's the next continuity? Is it Justice League or is Aquaman going to be first?
Justice League.
Okay, so there's no reason that you don't end it with parademons.
I just want to say, like, if they have a mother box in this movie, like, I'll never say a bad word about Zack Snyder again. Like, I'll like Man of Steel is like my favorite movie. If they like, we've been wondering why they haven't been playing with those characters on Flash and Arrow, which we'll get back to in a second. Because maybe they're saving them for the fucking major leagues. Like, fuck the AAA Darkseid. They want Darkseid in the majors.
That's what I want from life is to have Darkseid on my television, and it's gonna happen. My favorite thing about that last season of Smallville was how much of the Final Crisis type, invasion of apocalypse that we got, and they didn't even get to the costume heroes and villains fighting, and there was no, the special effects weren't great, and we didn't see Superman in cape until the last minute and a half of the series. But man, we're gonna get all that. We're gonna get all that and more all up in our faces. And why don't you do parademons? Of course, they're gonna do parademons. And why not start it in this movie? I'm so pumped.
Yeah, that conversation got me way more excited for Batman Superman than I was before. Because I love me some fucking New Gods. Like Jack Kirby is everyone loves his Marvel stuff, and his art was the half the reason why we're still discussing this stuff today. But his author creations over at DC were some crazy shit.
Yeah, the new Gods and New Genesis and Apocalypse and all that. High Father and Orion. I love Mr. Miracle. Big Bart is awesome. Like he did some awesome stuff. Some characters that have lasted and made huge impacts on DC Universe, and probably none more so than Darkseid. Darkseid.
Yeah,
I mean, he's basically gone from being a sci-fi crazy villain in the New Gods universe to being Superman's most important foe, because whenever you need to bring out something that can really be a world, a world devastating threat on Superman's power level and have it make sense and not seem contrived and be super evil, not just a bony gray Hulk, Darkseid.
Yeah, but so if they're not, well, anyway,
I ran out of steam there. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't even know. We're supposed to be talking about the Flash, but there's been so much shit come out. Like Black Panther, we got, Black Panther was this week or whatever. First time that he's ever been in anything. In the Marvel Civil War trailer. Anyway, Flash. I was going to give it a B until that stuff at the end of the episode, where that's an A- to me, because I was bawling by the end of Flash.
I thought it was a solid A. I thought that the plot was the most evil thing I've ever heard. That motherfucker sent home bombs to 100 children in presents from a Santa Claus. And Mark Hamill, when he's begging the Joker with going to these kids on his lap, looking like the evilest thing in the world, and he is, because he's not going to molest these kids. He's going to blow them all off the fucking smithereens. And
their family.
Torture the Flash, just electrocuting them. He's just going to take a big Bowie knife and cut out the Flash's kidney on the street. Like, this is insane. They are insane people, and that is the best comic book villain plot on TV I've ever seen. So I was to give it an A. By the end, and then when Flash has the talk with Spivot, and he's like, gotta be better than that, and this and that, and then the joke, Trickster's all, oh, I'm gonna cry, and he's all like seriously moved by it, like not moved like I'm gonna be a better person, but moved, but like that was so sweet. I loved it.
As great as that was, I thought if we just get one present and then send it up to the sky, it'll get all the rest, was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Well, I agree. I was sitting here watching it with Crystal or Barkley, and I just kept saying, could you give me a little more on how this, how does it work? Magnets. It's magnetism. And someone else says how, and he just says it again. He says, magnetism, stupid.
No,
and he says 2 words about how, the frequency, and then they'll all fly. And and then they'll all fly. Like, you gotta give me another 10, 15 seconds. If you've got to cut out something the rest of the show, that's fine. But if you're gonna tell me that if you throw a box in the sky, or a radio in the sky, all the other radios will go in the sky with it, like, I don't get it. Like, you need to explain some more. So I totally agree with you. That was, even if the science is real, they're dicks for not letting us know why it's real and making us feel a little smarter. Because either it's bad writing or I'm not smart enough, and fuck you for saying that.
So the only thing I can say in that defense was when he says, it's magnets, bitch. That's a direct quote from Breaking Bad. Like, that's a direct quote from Jesse of Breaking Bad. So
no, because he didn't say bitch.
He did say bitch. I wrote it down.
No, he didn't say bitch. It's on CW. Well, he might have. It's on. They cussed in Supernatural.
I think he did, but that was stupid.
If he quoted Breaking Bad, then I'm okay with it. Not okay as if he told me how it worked, but
I still don't understand how that at all. And also, like, we had Jay have his powers for one episode. Are we really going to have an entire season of Jay Garrick just hanging out powerless?
It seems so. It seems like we have at least 3/4 of a season of Jay Garrick powerless, just because they don't want to have 2 Flashes running around, I guess.
That's the point. Like, anybody who's ever, like, people who don't read The Flash think it's stupid how many people have, like, speed powers. But, like, if you actually read The Flash, like, he has a twin brother named Cobalt Blue from another universe that should have powers at some point. Wally West is going to have powers. Jesse and Johnny Quick have powers. There's Professor Zoom. There's the Black Flash. There's Reverse Flash. Impulse. There's Jay Garrick. Impulse. Yeah, it never really stops. So I think the more speedsters, the better. Like, what if they had a talking gorilla and a fucking giant shark? Like, really, they're going to draw the line at, like, too many people running fast?
Yeah. No, I agree. I have no problem with all the speeches they want. I'd be okay with him not being in every episode, but he should be around, able to use his powers some. I'm sure they'll get there. They're going to get there. It's not like they would bring out They wouldn't bring out the Golden Age Flash and never have him run. But it does appear they're going to wait until the end of the season.
They had him run. They had him jog. They had him and Barry jog around that wall just to recreate, the Flash of Two Worlds shot.
Yeah, which was cool. It was great having that shot. But I do want to see Jay Garrick run. Yeah,
him and Girl Professor Light. Why can't they be on Legends of Tomorrow?
Him and Simmons?
No, Girl Professor Light.
Linda. Yeah. I think. Wait, is Linda not going to be on Legends of Tomorrow?
No, they've finished filming and that's it.
Huh. I kind of assumed Professor Light was going to be on there. I don't know why.
No, yeah, they finished filming. And that debuts like in the, I don't know, it's like they're doing 8 episodes of that like in the middle of January through the middle of February, I guess.
They're bringing it back the same week they're bringing back Arrow and Flash.
No, it's supposed to air when they're on hiatus.
Nope. That's what Peggy Carter's Agent Carter is doing, because Shield doesn't come back until March. Shield's gone for 3 months.
All of this is stupid. What? I was about to say the Flash and Arrow thing was stupid, and then that's stupid too.
Yeah, Shield's gone for 3 months, and so Agent Carter starts the same week as Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. But here's the thing: I watch a good bit of CW. I also watch Supernatural with Crystal, and CW does some strange things with their schedule over the spring. Like if I recall, last year it would be like two new episodes, 3 weeks off, 1 new episode, 2 weeks off, 3 new episodes, 2 weeks off, and through like April and stuff, until they have their big run to the finish. So it wouldn't surprise me if like over the 8 weeks they do Legends of Tomorrow, they only do 3 or 4 Flashes and Arrows, or 5, 4 or 5 or something. And so maybe it's at least more consistent during their busy one, or maybe they'll just have all 3 shows on at once. I obviously have no idea.
Well, I just realized why Shield doesn't come back until like late March or whatever, because they want to time it with Civil War.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Like, they're bringing it back mid March, early March, and Civil War comes out first week of May.
Yeah.
So they'll bring it back, so it'll run for a month to month and a half up to the movie.
Yeah, and I watched Shield on Netflix last 2 years, so I didn't. Maybe that's what they've done for Captain America and Avengers 2 as well. I could not tell you.
All right. I mean, Captain America, they definitely took a long break and then came back and were, solid and improving all the way up to the movie, especially once the movie came out. And they used that for a lot of their stuff. So that makes sense.
Well, I was excited for Legends of Tomorrow.
What was that?
I was excited for Legends of Tomorrow in like 2 weeks, but I guess that's not happening. So
I thought it would come out like immediately. But to be fair, it's only a month. A month and it's 5 weeks. So
yeah. And Star Wars is coming out, so no one wants to be anywhere near that thing.
I've already given it like $40 just for me and my wife. So maybe more than that.
Well,
I will give. If you count presents, I've already given it hundreds. Everybody's just getting Star Wars crap.
I've already spent more than that because I bought Battlefront and the season pass for Battlefront. So
there you go.
They already have. But anyway, because the Battlefront commercials were so like they had a kid pretending to be Star Wars, like with his hand. They had 2 brothers like pretending to fight Star Wars with action figures, and then they like had them playing the old video games, and then it showed them as adults like playing one. And I was like, oh my god,
that's cool.
They can't not pull your heartstrings for those. So anyway, Flash. We talked about Flash, Arrow.
We should do Arrow. We have been on for a while.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Mid-season finale of Arrow. Never mind. I'll tell you afterwards why I'm so distracted.
Okay. I thought
the Emerald Cup was this weekend, so that's why.
Arrow. It was Arrow. It had
Arrow's great.
It had some dumb stuff, but man, did it have some highs. I thought at the beginning the theft of the beeps and that the drone attack was crazy and messed up and an awesome scene. And I thought that when Oliver went on TV and calls out Dark, being that Oliver's a political figure, I think that was slander because he had the power of the media to, with no evidence, I mean, he might have evidence in court, but it didn't bring any evidence and just put this guy's face out there as a massive criminal. Like that's illegal, I think.
But it's also okay. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but like you're talking about the drone attacks and the ghosts and all this stuff happening in Star City this year. Arrow was kind of unrealistic with like the shit that would go down in Star City the previous 2 or 3 seasons. Too much nonsense. Boy, with Paris, with San Bernardino, like this, and with with all the stuff happening and like with actual terrorist attacks in cities around the world, like, the stuff in Star City becomes a lot more like, whoa, that's hitting a lot closer to home.
I had the same reaction. Maybe even more of a, wow, that's kind of pushing the line of how close to home you can get. And I know it's art, but being that you're making a superhero thing and not like serious art, if you're to use domestic terrorism and realistic domestic terrorism, you got to use it well. You got to be careful with it, and you need to do a solid job. But I thought they did. I mean, they took it very seriously, and it wasn't a joke or anything. It wasn't like the trickster coming out and doing that would have felt a little bit too over the top, I think, for a CW TV show. But this was pretty well handled.
Because the trickster doing that is Colorado.
Yeah.
Like that guy called himself the Joker, painted his hair, and shot up a fucking movie theater. Like he thought he was that's the trickster, right? In a nutshell. Whereas this other thing is, it's a lot closer to like what happened in Paris a few months ago or a month ago.
Yeah.
Or what happened in Paris months and months ago back at the I mean, that's actually what it's really similar toward is the Jesus Charlie, whatever you want to call that newspaper thing.
Yeah. Charlie Hebdo.
Charlie Hebdo, that's what it was. I mean, that's kind of what, they called someone out and then they responded. That's what Oliver did, and that's what he responded with.
Yeah.
But no, Arrow was fantastic, man. Thea is now like my favorite character on television.
I love Thea, man. I have written in my notes twice, Thea, ! I remember some continually amazing fight scenes and improvement in anger and acting. But what specifically did she do that you liked, or just like her now?
No, I just like her. But they had maybe it was oh no, I guess it was last week during the crossover I was thinking of, because she had Cisco was like, we should change her name, and she's like, no, I'm cool with Speedy.
Yeah. Well, this episode we had Merlin as Green Arrow with Speedy, kicking butt, which I thought was brilliant. It was a great thing to have on film, and they did an awesome job with it. I thought my only negative, I guess, I think that the backstory, the flashback scenes on the island are not amazingly strong this year. They're going really slow. I understand they're devoting more time to the more important story, the current stuff, but you got to make something happen in the back season, or why even do it?
I think it's completely useless at this point, and it's borderline making me angry considering the way they teased the season. Looked like it was going to be my favorite thing ever put on television was Ollie's backstory, and then they went, no, that's just a tease. Sorry, guys. Like, and now that they've gotten this far, we could pretty much say safely, no Hal Jordan, just an awesome bone to throw from the producers.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that leather jacket walk by the corner of the screen and seeing that Jordan name tag walk by, it really, really is frustrating, because it seemed like, I mean, they know what they knew what they were doing. They know what they're doing, and I guess it's only frustrating because, man, glad we're not in Coast City right now. Glad we've had one cool episode with Constantine and then done nothing for the past 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they had so much promise with that, and I know we had a little bit of like, okay, so Ollie saved the Russian guy in the first 2 seasons, and they became friends when they were prisoners on Slade's boat.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the tattoo. But I've all like the way they've alluded to it that Ali, I've kind of thought that somewhere along there he actually was like legit Russian mafia rather than just that guy. And I've always wanted to like do that as your plot line as the backstory.
What I would like to see is more of what we got for half an episode to start this year, which was proto Green Arrow running around rooftops in Coast Cities, I guess he was in, or Seattle, or somewhere else. Kind of dirty, a little hairier, and back to dispensing justice a little more violently. Not too violently. I still don't need my Green Arrows to murder people, but justice and darker and a little bit. I love Team Arrow, but that would be cool to see, a little bit more of that dark grittiness we had from season 1, just every now and then. Or it's just gonna be hard traveling heroes and make me super happy. Or just do something this season. What is he doing? He hasn't held a bow like episodes.
Yeah, I mean that's he's probably his arrows, if you want to look at it like an NBA thing, like, or his arrows per episode is way down this season.
Yeah.
Like arrows shot per episode is just like the numbers are way down. They don't have him. There's so much backstory. Okay, but then the proposal was great, but more than that, when Felicity's mom finds it, and then that was just a hilarious little scene. It's Felicity's. I love her reaction, like with the ring.
Yeah.
And then,
it was good.
All right, and then she's not dead, so everybody calm the fuck down.
I don't know, man.
No,
I agree.
Either she's dead, and then there's another death coming, or this is not the death they're alluding to, and she's not dead, because it's Christmas and it said 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
Did it say 6 months?
It did say 6 months.
And when was that? September?
Yeah, it's Christmas. Like, just
6 months would be like March. No, I guess it was October. 6 months would be April. They probably finished their run late April. You're probably right. And if it's not the death, and as we always said, it can't be her because Barry. I mean, unless Barry was kidnapped the moment. I don't know. I mean, I guess he could feasibly miss it because of Zoom. But as fast as he and Zoom both are, it's hard to imagine that this debilitating, time-consuming fight took away from Felicity's funeral. So you're right; it does still seem a little unlikely.
I mean, and I think that it's going to be either the kid or the mom, right? Because Barry's the only one that knows. So that's why Ali was alone. That's why no one else came. And that's why it was like okay for Barry to be late, because he didn't know those people either.
I think that makes total sense. The kid, man, that would be hardcore for CW to murder the kid. I don't want to be shocking. I don't know. It's pretty hardcore murdering children. Has Arrow had much children murdering going on? I mean, I know Flash just tried last week, but actually murdering kids is pretty heavy crap. But keeping a kid alive would be, especially with no mom, would really change the dynamic of Arrow, and would add a lot of elements that I don't know, could be good, could be interesting. They could be smart to do it, but it seems like I don't know. I wouldn't hesitate to do that. Adding
so what's gonna happen?
Young child.
The mom. I'm sorry. You finish. I'm sorry. Your thing cut out, so I thought you were talking.
No, it's fine. You can talk. The mom.
So
I was just.
So anyway, here's what's gonna happen. The mom is gonna die, and the kid's gonna be kidnapped. The kid's gonna disappear, and Ollie's gonna have the funeral, and the last shot of the episode is gonna be the kid being handed off to a monastery with the name Connor.
All right. Does they rename him and be Connor Hawk? I'm fine with that. Because to be fair, although it would be cool to have a Connor Hawk appear in the regular timeline, Ollie's not that old. Like in the Green Arrow comics, when Connor was born, it made sense that Ollie could have an 18-year-old kid because Ollie, had been doing this for a while. Ollie being 36, 37 made sense. In this, Ollie's what, 30 years old? 29 years old. Yeah. Him having a kid much older than 10 would not make a lot of sense.
No, and it's a way like so, or maybe they don't even call him Connor. Maybe it's like he was brought here by a hawk. Some ambiguous line like that where we all go, "Oh my God, that's Connor," and that's like the last shot of the episode. And then season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow is like they're in the future, or maybe even they're in season 1. Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow. They're in like the future or something, and the Green Arrow they're dealing with is a 21-year-old Connor Hawk.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. Shoot, I lost my notes. Anything else big happened in Arrow that we haven't covered yet? Let's see. And
Damien Dark is just
that shot at the end. The Felicity shot. That car took a lot of bullets, and you would think he would have just had a bulletproof glass and a bulletproof car, being that this guy's already made 2 public assaults on Oliver Queen events. That being said, it's a lot of bullets, and Felicity was bleeding from her mouth pretty strong. But and you know what? I like Felicity a lot, but I'm okay with if this leads to them breaking up. There already been some weirdness between them. If she finds out the kid, I can see that. I don't know. Even though I don't love Laurel in my heart, I'm still rooting for Oliver to end up with Black Canary.
See, I still want, if it's Sarah was Black Canary, that'd be different. Or if like if the Katies were switched, Katie Cassidy. Yeah. But
I agree with that.
But no, they're not going to Felicity. And I think more likely, they've said that she's going to get a code name. More likely is her being paralyzed and getting the Oracle code name.
I had not heard she was getting a code name.
Yeah, they said that a while. They said her and Diggle will both end up with code names by the end of the year.
I heard Diggs, but I didn't hear her. Well, you think she'll get paralyzed from this?
No, I think that she'll just they'll temporarily paralyze her because they can't have have you seen her in a dress?
Yeah. She's
like
banging.
They do one every 3, 5 or 6 episodes, like is an event, and she drops the hair down and drops the glasses.
Oracle. And she basically is Oracle, and if they're not bringing in Batman, it doesn't make sense they bring in Batgirl. I guess that's also the only reason you have trouble seeing Supergirl in this universe is because if there's a Supergirl, there's got to be a Superman. And in Air Flash, there's obviously no Superman. You have Batman because Batman's constrained. What? One, because there's no Superman in the Arrowverse. It would have been mentioned by now.
Yeah, probably.
Everyone's still plenty amazed by just the Flash. And Flash is super amazing unless you see a dude fly almost that fast and then punch a building in half.
Yeah, so you're right. Somebody would have mentioned it. Somebody would have made, and there would be a Wayne thing involved with or a Luthor, like all Queen Consolidated and Cord Industries and Palmer Tech. Like they would have dealt with Luthor Tech or Luthor Corp or whatever.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. Which is frustrating. Which also it makes it hard to see them ever get involved with the Titans. Even the Titans do ever end up on TNT because how do you have a Nightwing without a Batman?
Well, Supergirl is gonna. I told you they've already caved on 2 of their no, never gonna happen. Nope, never gonna happen. Well, no, we would like it to happen, but no, we can't make it happen.
Only reason it can happen is because they have the 52 thing set up, and so
she's in a different universe.
Yeah, they just have one of those spots, and she pops through.
Have they mentioned that maybe Earth 2 has a Superman?
Yep.
We don't know.
But that they may not have mentioned at this point. Okay, that's it for superheroes this week. We have been rambling for almost an hour and a half, I think, and it's probably long enough considering that we didn't even have Gotham this week. Overall, great week. Lots of cool comic book stuff on TV and lots of awesome nerd stuff going on for the movies, whether it's Star Wars or the previews from Batman, Superman, Civil War, now this Deadpool Flash that we know we're getting.
Yeah, this week we saw Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, and Black Panther. It was a pretty good week.
Damn straight. Okay, we will be back at the end of this week coming up to talk about Supergirl's. I assume this is the fall finale, and Shield's now week-old fall finale, and then I guess we'll be on a break for a while. So come back next week, Comic Books on TV from Hunter and Ford. We're out.